March the 4th, 2025. Guys, you're looking at the J. Edgar Hoover Building in Washington. It's about to go up for sale if things go right. It looks like a fortress from a movie, a futuristic movie. It's got a lot of glass, though, but other than that, it looks like a giant futuristic prison. Well, it and over 400 other buildings are now coming up on the chopping block from Doge because not enough people are there. And remember, Patel has taken most of the FBI agents, sent a big, large group to, was it the Huntsville, Alabama area, and spread the rest out to other offices. But I'm sure they were having a lot of vacant offices and no-shows or work from homes. But why would you need this many offices in D.C.? Because it's the control center of the deep state. But now there's a proposal to take this building and sell it. And that, maybe that's why they moved the agents out. It's not the only one. It says President Donald Trump is proving once again he is the king of slashing government waste and draining the swamp. In a blockbuster report from Bloomberg, the Trump administration has unveiled plans to unload a massive portfolio of 443 federal properties across 47 states. Now, there's maybe 20 or maybe a little more than 20 listed here, but they're all in D.C. It says 47 states, D.C., and Puerto Rico. Properties bloated with bureaucracy, including the headquarters of the Department of Justice, the FBI, which is the J. Edgar Hoover building you're looking at, and even the General Services Administration, the GSA itself. That was kind of one of the main controlling things. Imagine this, guys, 443 buildings, 47 states. They're not saying D.C. here. I mean, it's a state, but it's, you understand, it's 47 states plus D.C. and Puerto Rico. Now, the General Administration, or GSA, disclosed a list of 443 non-core assets encompassing a mix of prime commercial spaces that currently serve as regional hubs for various federal agencies. We are identifying buildings and facilities that are not core to government operations or non-core properties for disposal. Selling ensures that taxpayer dollars are no longer spent on vacant or underutilized federal spaces. Disposing of these assets helps eliminate costly maintenance and allows us to reinvest in high-quality work environments that support agency missions, not the bureaucratic mansion or fortress, that we've seen for so long. It says these properties span nearly 80 million rentable square feet, equivalent to 12 Pentagons. The potential sale of these assets could lead to more than $430 million in annual savings on operating costs, aligning with President Trump's commitment to trim government expenditure. Now, this is the list of the D.C. buildings. It says among the high-profile properties listed on the headquarters are several major departments such as Justice, Agriculture, or Veterans Affairs, primarily located in the Washington, D.C. area. Also, the Nancy Building in San Francisco, the Nancy Pelosi Building, and the Dick Cheney Federal Building in Wyoming. The GSA even suggested settling its own headquarters as part of the plan. Sounds like the right people in place. But the first 3 or 4 here, you've got addresses. Some of you may know where these are, but 2 are listed at the same address, 2430 East Street, Northwest East. Then you get down to Agra South of the American Red Cross Building. They've ripped off so many donations from hurricanes in the southeast and probably other places and other disasters, but I know it happened here. It affected, and they really went against a lot of people like the rescuers down in Louisiana and things like that, the Cajun Navy. American Red Cross Land, Central HTG Plant, AC, I'm not sure, that's probably a controlling plant for some of these buildings. Columbia Plaza, Court of Military Appeals, I guess, the Diplomacy Museum, Federal Trade Building, the Forestal Building, Forestal Daycare. I think I do remember now we were paying for a lot of daycare. The Francis Perkins Building, the GSA Building, and they're the ones that just said it may be good to sell their building. The Hubert Humphrey Building, the J. Edgar Hoover Building, again FBI, James L. Whitten, FB, Judiciary Square, Lafayette, Mary E. Switzer Building, Orville Wright Building. And it keeps going on down the post office, the old post office. And then the PO2 annexes, I'm not sure what those are, remote delivery sites, the Robert C. Weaver Building, the Robert F. Kennedy Building, Southeast Federal Center, Steam Distribution Tunnels, and Theodore Roosevelt Building, the U.S. International TR, Veterans Administration Building. You don't need that many people there. Get rid of those people, put that money out into each state that has the VA hospitals, and has the office, or put them into offices that can help the veterans in more than just hospitalization, homes, loans, grants, all of that. The Wilbur J. Cohen Building and the Wilbur Wright Building. Over here to the right, you can look at the square foot and space that each building has. So it's interesting to see this, and I never thought, I've been there twice, I've walked through these streets many times, saw these buildings, and it seemed like they were impenetrable fortresses from the common people. You know what I'm saying, guys? And now, by doing this, they're not only taking that central power out of D.C., and that's what it looks like is really happening. They're draining the swamp. But other states too, 47 states. And that needs to happen. It's too many people on our dime. And what do they do with them when they tax us to death and then persecute us, put grandmothers in jail for protesting outside of an abortion clinic? They have no honor among them. They are demons. We talked about this before. There's a different species than the human species that are the children of our Father in heaven. And that's what's being cleaned out. But because they are demonic, guys, you have to keep your head on a swivel there. And I would like nothing to see this more than change to hotels. If you had to keep the big buildings, maybe the UN, someone mentioned the other night, make it a veterans hotel or apartment complex, condos, a lot of this, because they serve the nation, and a lot of them have been sent to war and injured because of people in these buildings. I just want to talk about that tonight, guys, because we've got a lot going on. By the way, let me show you one other thing very quickly. Now, guys, on the Epstein file situation, Pam Bundy was on Fox News with Sean Hannity. And what has happened is they have sent people into the Southern District of New York, the headquarters there. They were the ones that refused to release everything but basically the flight logs of the Epstein files. Well, her group and Patel went in there and they fired the head. He was deputy. I think they'd already got rid of the head man, but they got rid of the deputy, moved him out of the way, and found all the other documents. And that's what Pam is talking about here. I'll link that. But she's saying that they had promised to have the files. We all heard the same story, and I'm not trying to bring hopium back up here, but it is important for the people of the U.S. to know that because this political race was based on transparency, that we need to know, and I think that's what's happening. It says Pam Bundy announces she received a truckload of Epstein documents from the Southern District of New York after being misled by the FBI. And again, this guy who's a big guy, crew cut, ex-Marine, was in there blocking the files. He's out. They said you can be fired or you can resign. And I think he resigned and got the hell out of the way. But again, that's the J. Edgar Hoover Building Group. Now, that's in D.C. He was in New York, but it's all tied together like a giant spider web. So that building, again, they didn't list anything out of New York, just the ones in D.C. It will be interesting, and I'll try to do my best to find a full list, because that, you realize how quickly we're going to be able to balance out the debt situation. It could happen within 10 years when they said it could never happen. It could happen quicker than that if it keeps going at this pace. But guys, we're watching it. We just got through with the tornado warnings and everything in this area. It's 5:02 p.m. It was a little scary for a moment. There's still other sections, but the band has passed over us. I was praying. We were praying. We did not want another tornado here. Again, we had trees down. We still haven't replaced 2 porches, and we haven't got all the tree. We've got the trees that we can get out of the driveway, but they're fine right now. They'll probably just decay into the forest, and it's a lot better than burning them. It builds up your topsoil too, but we were sure hoping not to get another hit. And I was praying for the Lord to protect everyone. And I actually said, Lord, the people on this planet, your children and many good people, have had enough. We've prayed, and we all love you. We know you love us. Give us all a little break. We'd appreciate it very much. And if you can't ask your Father for help, then who can you ask, right? And by the way, I've got it, since I said that, and I didn't plan to go there, but do you guys remember in the New Testament, Christ said, "What if your children come to you?" This is not verbatim. "What kind of father would you be if they were hungry, and instead of food you gave them vipers?" Guys, someone want to maybe put that in the comments, that verse. And why did he say that? What happened with Moses? The people were hungry. They asked him for food. He talked to Yahweh, the God of the Israelites, and what did they do? They sent poisonous snakes on the people. And why did Jesus say that? You know, he never was a follower of Yahweh. He was a follower of his father Elyon. If you can't understand the pantheon of the gods, you had the prince of Persia was over that area. Yahweh at first was just given the Israeli people. The other gods, or the lesser gods, not the head God that created everything, they all got portions of land. We talked about in the territorial spirits of Gaza, guys. It's important to understand that has been going on for quite a while. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. What was Christ talking about when he said his Father would not give his children serpents for food? And that's why, if you want to know the truth, and if you can show me any time that he mentioned Yahweh as his Father, then let me know, and we'll talk about it. But I don't think he ever did. He mentioned his Father in heaven. He said on this cross, Eli, Eli, Eli Shabbatane, my Father, my Father. He was teaching from David of Jesus' coming. Still teaching with his last breath on the cross, guys. But he was telling people, and I'm not trying to dissuade anyone from what you understand or what you hope or you believe or what you pray. I'm just saying, and I've seen too much proof lately, that as God got everybody together in Genesis, and he said, let us create. And that was Elyon. That's before it was, Yahweh was not present at that time as far as the chief. He was appointed, and you're going to have to look at and study. There's some great Old Testament studies out there that prove that point, and I've done one showing that in the Hebrew language where it changed from Elyon, the Creator, Christ's Father, you're my Father, and Yahweh, the God of the Israelites. And that's what Christ, again, look it up. Why did Christ say, my Father, or a good father would not feed his hungry children serpents? He was talking about Yahweh was the one that brought Moses and his children, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But that wasn't Yeshua's father. That was not Christ's father. I prefer, basically, or most of the time, is to call him Emmanuel, because that's what the angels told them to call him, God with us. And it's amazing that was the only time I think it was mentioned in the Bible. But that's what I'm telling you. There was rhinos that came in, change things, went to Rome, went to all these places before we ever got it, and then they read it in the churches in Latin forever to the Catholics. And just now more and more information is coming out. Again, I'm not putting anybody down or on what they believe or anything else. My main thing is that I believe in Jesus Christ, our Savior, and I believe in the Creator of all things. He created you and I and me. And then there was a pantheon. And it's mentioned in some of the older books that Yahweh was one of the sons of Elyon. And so that's what Christ was talking about. And what was happening, guys, at the New Testament area, and after things happened, even up until the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered, was more and more information was coming out. So Rome had to get that information, get it decoded via their scribes and Kenites, and get anything hidden that would show us what's coming upon this planet, and hide Christ, and hide Elyon, the true creator, the creator of everything, guys. And what it was pretty simple. Every nation, or every civilization basically has a different god or set of gods, right? Egypt, India, China, and they all say that their God is the most powerful. And that's what Yahweh was telling the children of Israel. He was saying, I'm the most powerful, and worship no other gods. Why would he say no other gods? I'm waiting, come on. Anyway, I'm telling you this information because things are about to get very tough on this planet. And why will men's heart fail them? Is it because the original sky kings, warrior kings, sky kings that had a lot to do with DNA manipulation through the Sumerians, Babylon, all of that, probably still do to this day with abductions? And it looks like there's a lot of information pointing to the return of that group, the sky gods. Now, I'm not saying that the book of Revelation is not going to happen exactly like it said it would. I'm not saying that. But why would men's hearts fail them? Would it be because suddenly you have these giant chariots of fire coming down like in the Old Testament? And these sky gods, the flying gods coming out? Do you realize they just found a ring which was used as something you could seal, like a wax seal for a statement or an envelope or proclamation or whatever, that it had the name of 2 Hebrews on it. And they were very prominent, Israelites. But in the center, the main portion was one of the Sumerian gods, the one that has the 2 wings coming out behind him, was on that ring. And what that does is show how much information that we don't have now, that the groups that were in the time of Christ and before that had about the ancient civilizations. They knew about the Sumerians. They knew about Babylon. They were there. They saw it. They saw chariots of fire. So If you've ever wondered what would cause men and women's hearts to fail them, you're going to find out. That's why this whole disclosure thing about UFOs and all of that is being pushed. But I don't know if they will ever give us everything, but when it happens and the sky becomes dark because of the quantity of what's coming upon this planet, and they are the ones that originally came and did the DNA changes that we talked about. You talked about Sumerian, Egyptian with the pine cone, the pineal gland and all that, guys. That same group. A lot of information I know tonight, guys. We just needed to talk about it. We're watching it. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.